G'day. Nepal is making yoga compulsory in schools. And here's why I think that's an important signal for the rest of the world. Nepal has just announced that they're making yoga compulsory in schools. And they're doing it at two levels. First of all, for the more senior students, they're teaching them the actual disciplines of yoga. But then at the younger levels, they're starting to introduce yoga language into the mainstream curriculum, so into the English language classes and other things. And so they're really trying to embed yoga as part of the education system. And the reason they say they're doing that is to try and promote healthy lifestyles. And then dig a little deeper, why are they doing that? Well, to try and reduce the economic burden of an aging and sickening population. And that's where I think it becomes really interesting for the rest of the world. Once we get to a point where governments understand that there is a long-term economic benefit to their community by teaching wellness and embedding wellness in part of everyday life, then I think we get to a point where it becomes mainstream. It becomes something we don't even talk about. Everything that we do essentially is structured around wellness, because up until now, I don't think we've got there. I think wellness is currently being driven by, I guess, the early adopters, for want of a better word. And I think there's a lack of evidence so far for a lot of people, at least for a lot of governments, to be able to commit to spending serious money today on something that's going to save them in the future. Of course, we've got issues with governments being short-term thinkers, not long-term thinkers. That's a whole other political conversation. But we've seen it in other areas, certainly in Australia, for instance, with the aged care. When I was growing up, there was no such thing as compulsory superannuation, which was like a forced retirement plan. My parents' generation always relied on the government pension to support them after they finished working. My generation, that pension is less and less because they've realised the population is ageing, less people coming into the workforce, more people depending on the taxes from the workforce. So they introduced compulsory superannuation for my generation so that we can essentially support ourselves in our retirement. Same thing here with wellness is happening. So I think once other countries and other communities start embedding the education of wellness in the education system, that's when we're going to see the real explosion of wellness opportunities. Because at that point, governments have realised that there's an economic benefit to, in a long-term sense, to learning about and educating yourself around things like yoga, meditation, and healthy lifestyles. Just a thought. Thank you to Timmy Mikolos for posting about that. I saw a post somewhere on social media from Timmy, so thank you for notifying me about that one. And I'll stick a link to that little article in the comments below. I do thank you for your time. I will be back again tomorrow. See ya.